What? My what? Why are you? What's going on? Are you surprised?
Obviously, thanks again. Thanks so much for coming. Hey, if you don't mind quieting down for a minute, thank you. Mom, be quiet for like 2 minutes. No, seriously, thank you everybody for coming. This is, a lot better than we really could have expected. Everybody's been coming up to me like, Michael, how'd you do this, Michael? That's so good. No, in all seriousness, Mary and Jenny were unbelievable. They started playing this thing 6 months ago. I did some stuff today, but like this. So we're just going to read a little something real quick, so if you wouldn't mind listening. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you all so much for coming tonight, and we just wanted to say a few quick words. Mom and Dad, people were so excited.
By the way, Mary, right behind her,
Mom and Dad, people were so excited to celebrate your anniversary and birthdays. We thought we'd share some of the responses. My eyes are so blurry.
That was Kevin.
The first one is from Kevin McElady. If it works for us, if Jay doesn't come. Barry Hyman, can't this just be a celebration about your mom? Uncle John, hopefully your dad won't be there. Kevin McElhaney again. Can we just make this a celebration of Lisa? And Michael Levinson, after the save the date had been sent to over 50 people, can we change the date of the party? It's Halloween.
As you can all imagine, it's been a real pleasure planning a party with my two sisters. Everyone knows how easygoing Mary is when it comes to this sort of stuff. Some might say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Mom. I received a phone call in which I thought I was going to be asked for my opinion on the menu. Little did I know, I was just being read the menu. In short, the only thing I was asked to do was to bring my credit card, so I hope that was good enough.
In all seriousness, we just want to thank Joyce and Mike Levy for setting up Mom with the man of her dreams. The three of us couldn't have asked for better parents, and we are so appreciative of everything you have done for us.
I feel
Okay, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Necessary for the two of you to give any roast of Jay, because by the time I'm done skewering him tonight, won't be necessary. Gave a lot of thought as to where I should begin. And,
How about at the end?
you're not that lucky, Jay. You're not that lucky. Actually, Mary just stole my thunder because the place I decided to begin was about 31 years ago. Phyllis and I were in Nantucket. We came back to our hotel just to pick up some suitcases so we could catch the ferry. And there was a note under the door. We looked at each other and said, "Who the heck is sending us a note?" Well, of course, we all know who the culprits were. And I think this 30 years later, it is safe to say that this fantastic event would not have happened if it were not for Joyce and Michael Levy. So everybody give them a hand. But with all good news, I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I realized that I have walked around with a problem now for 30 plus years, literally 30 years. I would get up in the middle of the night, don't ask why, I would get up in the middle of the night and I would think about this problem. And then one day I got a bright idea and I took Joyce's smartphone and I said, Siri, how do I solve this problem? Mikey, what time would you say you're... No, I'm not going to ask you because you're away a lot, so I'm going to ask Jenny. Jenny, what time would you say your mother gets up in the morning?
Take the dog out probably around
4:30. Oh, would you agree that that's relatively early? Okay. Okay.
Next question is when she starts back.
No.
About 4:31.
Okay, so we've established beyond the shadow of a doubt that Lisa gets to bed around 8-ish, gets up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Mikey, what time would you say your father goes to bed at night?
5:30.
Yeah, I don't think so.
10 o'clock.
10, 10:30? Yeah, okay, well, but can we agree on 10:15 to 10:30? Okay. Lisa, a question for you. What time would you say Jay gets up in the morning?
Well, first of all,
Late or early?
Jay hasn't been to bed at 10:30 for a long time, but Jay's up early.
Okay, or what do you define as early? 9?
6:30? 7?
What's the point?
Jay, you can make light of it, but
I get the point.
I haven't been able to figure out something in 30 years. Anybody want to guess?
You got it.
Okay. I'll save everybody the embarrassment. I have not figured out how these 3 kids ever came to be. I just can't figure it out.
Ask Joyce Levy.
And if you think I'm done with you, I'm not. Where's Alan? Alan?
Over here.
Uh-huh. I want you to think back, and perhaps you could remind me if you remember a particular car that I bought that I was so proud of. Do you remember the make of that car?
God, there were so many that you
Yeah,
ruined.
well, this one
maybe
had,
the
this one,
Volvo?
the Volvo. The Volvo had the first sunroof I had ever had. I was so proud of that car. And Alan, can you remember one particular night that Jay came in from being out? Do you remember what he told me that night?
I don't remember what he told you, but I remember what that car smelled like 15
Oh,
years
my
later.
Alan, you are a nasty, nasty kid to snitch on your brother who threw up in my Volvo. And I remember so vividly, Jay came into the bedroom, I was in bed, and he said, Dad, I threw up in the Volvo. What do I do? I looked at him and I said, you clean it, that's what you do.
Well, I bet he cleaned it up.
Yeah, you bet he, Coach, he cleaned it beautifully. I went out to the car the next morning, the car stunk. I opened the sunroof, thank God there was a sunroof. It was winter, it was freezing. 6 months later, the car still stunk. And 6 months later, I had to sell it. and I suspect it was at a loss. I can't remember which of my 3 children I blame for it. You know, at my age, you're not supposed to remember these things. Jay, perhaps you can help me with another thing. Perhaps you can help me. Do you remember that I rented some ski house for 3 nights? I don't remember the mountain. It wasn't Mount Snow.
You are on your own.
Let's see. This was a house that had 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and I remember very vividly it cost me $3,300 to rent this thing for a whole bunch of Levinsons. And I remember going up to Jay and saying, I was hissing and moaning, oh, it cost me $3,300. And Jay said those magic words, Dad, I am very comfortable with you spending $3,300. Now, I simply want to say, Jay, I don't hold a grudge. I long since forgot about it. I plumbed the depths of my memory and I came up with this. I just want to tell you that the next time we all go out to eat, it's your turn to pay. So I'm thinking Les Ballier would do just fine. Okay. I've had my fun, and now it's time to get a little bit serious. And these comments are directed at one person only. You came into my life, our life, 30 years ago, a little more than 30 years ago. And I can tell you that almost from the first moment, we liked you, we loved you, we still love you very, very much. You have been, I don't know, from the bottom of my heart, I don't know how to thank you enough for being a wonderful wife to my son, for bringing up these 3 pains in the, these wonderful grandchildren. I can tell you that when Joyce and I see your name in the caller ID, we both get a smile, and we are so happy that you are in our lives. And I simply want to say in front of everybody, thank you so much.
Dad, isn't that the speech you meant for Blink? Attention, I guess there's a few more nice, sweet chats about Jay coming up. The first thing, obviously, is it's pretty cool being here, seeing everybody from all around the country. So once again, just an amazing job to Mary and Jenny and whatever.
I don't know why that's a running joke.
It must be made up.
Hey, Alan, I told everybody not to teach you about your hair.
Now I will say, when Mary first called me, what was it, like 18 months ago, to tell me I thought it was a great idea, and I said, Mary, this is true. I said, you have 3 things that are important that you've got to nail if you want this to be a fun night. I said, 1, food. 2, the food. And 3, keep Papa Paul down to 45. Great job, Mary, on all of you. All right, I guess we've got 3 different events tonight, so I'm going to try and take them each in order. Not surprisingly, I'll start with Jay's birthday. It's amazing to think he's 60, and you know what? Just he's my big brother in many ways. You can imagine what just an amazing big brother he has been to me for all these years. You know, someone, you know, just what an amazing big brother he's always been. Someone to, you know, look up to, figuratively. but you know, as a little kid, you look, you know, what your big brother does for you, always encouraging me, trying to make me be the best person I can. You know, he's really just been amazing. You know, it's obviously you're all giggling. There isn't a person in this room that hasn't at some point been the recipient of Jay's wonderful needling and
I think I feel good.
looking for that soft spot and pouncing and all that. But think about it for a moment. How old were all of you guys when you had to deal with this? College? Law school? With kids, adults? Now think about it. At the age of 5, 8, 12, dealing with that wonderful, Jay loves telling this story, I'll just tell one. And I have thousands. I think I was probably 7 years old. And we're playing, Nate, Jay, and I are out, playing, we're at the end of the driveway, hanging on the bikes, chain comes off of my bike. And I can't get that thing on. And I'm getting pretty upset and I'm trying. So, big brother there to help me, totally starts making fun of me. He sees I'm getting a little upset, trying for help. He continues. He sees I'm getting really upset, so he keeps going. So I am screaming, and then really screaming. And I am at the top of my lungs, at the end of the driveway, the whole place, and the madder I'm getting, the more he's laying in. I am now swearing at 7 years old, every swear I've ever heard, and he was just loving it. So, no, he was really a great dude. And I'll actually tell us a true story. My freshman roommate in college, I used to do that same shit to him all the time. And he would be like, Alan, stop. And he's like, so he's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. I can't. So anyhow, he's been wonderful. And now, as we know, this is also Lisa's 60th birthday celebration. Lisa, sweet, kind, always trying to find the best in you, always like the anti-Jay. But as wonderful and near perfect as she is, I do even have one little story to tell about Lisa. This is a fairly recent one. And, unfortunately, Rosie, my daughter, and Peter had to just leave because it is Halloween. So whereas Mikey couldn't get out of it, they moved into a new apartment in the spring, just this year, and they needed help moving. So I drove up from Connecticut with the minivan full of
I can
stuff.
still feel myself like this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, and it was the craziest day because it was the middle of a blizzard. And I literally had to pick up stuff in Arlington to get the truck, the rental truck that was like huge. Rosie had stuff everywhere. Had to get stuff at her place in Cambridge, had to get stuff at Peter's mother's in Boston, Peter's father's in Arlington. Had to get the car after the truck after a certain time, had to return it by. It was like the craziest day to try and figure this all out and do all. And we had to come out to Andover because they had a bunch of Rosie stuff in the basement.
All right,
So,
I want my girlfriends to hear the story.
Literally, I needed like a supercomputer to figure out the timing and sequencing to make all this work. But I did it, and I had it down, and we got everything, and I'm on the truck, I'm driving this huge truck in the middle of this blizzard, driving up to Andover, and I'm pretty much on schedule, but had to get everything done to get the truck back before they closed. And I called Lisa to let her know I'm on the way, and the stuff was in the basement. When we brought it, we just literally went right outside down the hill here, because and right into the back. It was much quicker. It was good. There's like a foot of snow outside on this steep hill. So I just say matter-of-factly to Lisa, you know, I don't think we're going to be able to bring the stuff up. We're going to have to just go through the garage and through the kitchen and down the steps and all that. Silence. That could be a problem. Like, excuse me? I don't want the snow tracking through the house. made it up. And I was thinking how to respond, and I'm like, Lisa, of the 87 things that I am worried about coming through today, the least important one to me is dripping a little bit of clean snow on the 10 feet of kitchen that your dog has peed and pooped on. How does she respond? Alan, it is my #1 concern.
Maybe 2 inches of snow. Rosie had her boyfriend and a friend helping.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, and you're like, I am not, Lisa, I just want to give you a heads up, I am not walking out through the back. I'm exhausted, you can't believe my day. I'm going through the garage, downstairs, I'm like, Alan, go through the back.
So you were worried about me.
I see Lisa on this one. I'm gonna go with Lisa.
Alan, if you can win this, you'll have my admiration.
Anyhow, I will finish this up. The last thing, of course, is their 30th anniversary. And all I can say is, in all honesty, I can't think of any 2 people that I've ever seen have a better marriage. And that is God's honest.
Kind of like going through life as Ruth Madoff. But that is my cross to bear. Family members who had no choice to be associated with Jay, and for the rest of us who made the highly curious choice to voluntarily be associated with Jay, I welcome you here. We're happy to celebrate the wonderful Lisa and the at best highly acquired taste Jay. And I want to echo what everyone has said to thank so much Mary and Jenny for their wonderful efforts in having this event together, and the subliminal assistance of Michael along the way.
I'm here now.
Now you see that Mary, Jay, understands how to plan a party. You send out, because I don't know if you got, just for everyone to know, Jay 3 weeks ago said, I think it'd be a good idea to have a surprise party for Lisa. 3 weeks before the event was due. See, Jay, you do things like send out an invite 8 months before, you do the calls, and Jay is so stupid, he goes, gee, I guess everyone was able to come even though with very short notice. We're all mistaken, we're all going to be here anyway. So, okay. Eddie, almost done? When I started, I only had one stipulation to speak. When I said to Mary, I cannot follow Tommy and John. Because when you are at an event where you're making fun of Jay, you follow Tommy and John. It's kind of like doing card tricks for the crowd at Shea Stadium after the Beatles have appeared. I'm a warm about that. I've known Jay for over 40 years. My remarks are going to mostly focus on him, but Lisa, you're wonderful. And I don't know, people probably can't here agree if there's an afterlife or what it might look like, but I think we can all agree that if it's one of those places where there's a good place and a bad place, and if you're good, you go to the good place, and if you're wicked, you go to the bad place, and if there's some sort of committee that looks at your life and the pluses and minuses and goes through a report, I am pretty sure that when they see your report, they look at the face page and they say, married to Jay Levinson, they're going to say, sister, you're in. No need to look at anything else. And now for Jay. Audience participation. And Billy Weir, even you have to raise your hand. Okay? Who here loves Jay? Come on, everybody. All right. Now, family members, no, keep your hands up. Gotta keep your hands up. Family members, you can put your hands down because I'm not going to put you through this, okay? Only take your hands down if you disagree. If you disagree with this statement, otherwise, keep it up. I love Jay, but whenever I'm introducing him to someone who's never met him before, I feel that it is incumbent upon me to explain Jay for at least 10 minutes. He needs an introduction. So, I met Jay over 40 years ago. I was a sophomore at Swarthmore College. Jay was getting recruited as an athlete. For those of you who have ever seen Jay run, you know he was not getting recruited for the track team. He was getting recruited for the tennis team. Coach Cullen was taking Jay around the campus, and they finally got to the tennis courts. And Coach Cullen, who liked to use big words, said to Jay, "Jay, did you know that the Swarthmore tennis team has perennially been very formidable?" And Jay said, "Yeah, and I heard they've been good for a long time." And I said to myself, is this guy a moron, or does he just enjoy being a moron? And little did I know that this question would haunt me for the next 40 years. So I'll just give you a few.
Which way did you come down?
I said it's still haunting me. Just a few illustrations. We got a new tennis coach after Coach Cullen, Mike Mullen, and Mike's wife was Japanese. But Jay was referring to her and said, Mark talked about Marcia being Chinese. And Coach Mullen said, no, Jay, she's not Chinese, she's Japanese. And Jay, ignoring thousands of years in difference in culture and history, said, Chinese, Japanese, what's the difference? Another time I had a high school girlfriend who was a very intelligent gal, very, very well read, and I was talking to Jay about her, and I said, Jay, I think one of the reasons that Meredith was so well read, that the parents didn't have any TV in the house. And he looked at me. Now this is someone who's obviously spent hours and hours looking at cartoons for, probably 17 years old. And he looked at me. And he looked at me and he said, oh my God, the state should have removed the children from the home. So, one more story from college. Jay and I took an intermediate macroeconomics course together. Now, that was one course, I had to work really hard, but economics was like the one thing that it came to me fairly easily. Jay, on the other hand, was lost after the first time he heard the word GNP. So, we get to the final, and the professor decides that he's going to have a test where he's giving the questions out ahead of time. So you could study up. So Jay desperately comes to me and he said, Eddie, I'm going to fail. You got to help me out. I said, okay. You got to promise me you're not going to give the answers to anybody else, but I will write out all the answers to all the questions. Okay, so and then he's desperately coming to me, are you done, are you done, are you done? And I finally get done. I give him the answers to all the questions. And then, of course, he proceeds to give them to all the guys on the football team. Jay, I've never been madder at you. So,
Eddie, they need the help as badly as
go in, take the test, results come back, and I did pretty well. Jay didn't do so well. He actually did reasonably poorly. And Jay was outraged. And Jay had the balls to go to the professor and complain. And she said, how did Ed Weiss get such a great grade and you give me such a lousy grade? We both had the same answer. Of he had to memorize it. He had no idea what he was memorizing, and my handwriting was horrible. But I'll never forget what the professor told you. He said, Jay, you know that kid's telephone game where one person says something to somebody, and one person says that? And he said, by the time it got to you, Jay, you had absolutely no idea what you were doing. So I flash forward to Jay's business career. Where's Tommy? Tommy? Oh, there you go.
Hiding in the back.
You partnered with Jay at North American and you were a success. The new business venture is growing and doing well. Tommy, I don't know you well, but you must be a total business genius. Tommy.
Edward, you're right.
Warren Buffett should be your shoulder. So, we are here, and it's just so wonderful to see so many of you were at the rehearsal, at the wedding, and everyone's looking so well, and it's just wonderful to be here. So, I just wanted to say what my friend Jay means to me. First, as Gary Van Arkel, one of our tennis guys in the tennis team, said, Jay is one of the funniest white men alive. and that is true. And you bring a smile to my face and everybody's face whenever I think about you. I think you have a wonderful clue about life and what's important in life. You've been a great dad, and I guess a good husband. And you've also been the best and most loyal friend anyone could have. So I thank you for that, and I wish you and Lisa many, many more years of happiness together.
Michael Wilson.
Nice loud voices.
So to start out, we also want to congratulate Michael, who did such a great job putting tonight together. With virtually no help from his sisters. It's impressive he can do it all from Washington, D.C.
Where's Mary? Mary, I also want to give a big thank you to Mary, who personally invited me to the party. She texted me an invitation on Thursday. She said there was a last-minute cancellation, so I was now included. Mary texted that I need to pick up all the alcohol for the party, pay for it, and then drive it to Andover no later than Saturday afternoon. I also needed to stay after the party to be in charge of the cleanup, and then drive the caterers back home to Worcester. And make sure not to forget to pay them. So thanks, Mary, that was very touching. But I have to say, it's nice to look around the room and see all the people who are here to be a part of tonight's celebration. But as I'm sure everybody can tell, basically everyone is here on behalf of I think Jenny said there was really only one person who was coming strictly as a close friend of Jay. But I'm not even sure the person showed up because I didn't see him earlier. Maybe he's here now. Is Harvey Weinstein?
So not many people know this, but Jay and I had a very rocky start when we first met. Lisa waited until she was almost 30 to get married, so when she finally announced she was bringing home the man of her dreams, I couldn't wait to meet him. Lisa had always dated the tall, handsome, muscular, intellectually sophisticated. So I thought I was prepared for who I was going to meet. The day finally arrived, where Jay was coming to the house, and when the doorbell rang, I got up, opened up the door, took one look at Jay, looked back at Lisa, took a much closer look at Jay, and finally turned to Lisa and said, "This is it." He deserves this.
happy for you now that your marriage to Jay has lasted for so long, but Tom and I do want to make an apology. We weren't very supportive of you being with Jay during the last 30 years, since we continually encouraged you to sign up for the dating sites, such as Match.com,
And JDate,
Madison,
and ChristianMingle.com.
Black People Meet,
And Lesbian Lovers.
and Men with Big Schlocks.
As many of you may remember, there was a time recently when we thought Lisa would finally be rid of Jay. It was the night he collapsed in a restaurant. Not surprisingly, it happened right before the bill came. I remember we were at the hospital with them when the doctor approached. Lisa was too emotional to speak, so being the supportive, helpful brother that I am, I jumped in on her behalf and I said, "Doctor, look at him. He looks so disgusting. It's clear he needs to be put down immediately." But Jay did go on to recover, but unfortunately, as you can see, the accident left him horribly disfigured. Many of you might not know this about Jay, but he is quite the worker bee. As Jay's business partner for the last 14 years, it has been an honor to get to see Jay's work ethic up close. Let me tell you, this guy likes to get an early start. He is in the office and ready to go no later than 10:30 in the morning, 3 days a week. When he gets in and has a chance to finish his waffles, French toast, sausage, and biscuits, he heads right to the bathroom. But not before grabbing a handful of files. He will sit on that toilet for less than 45 minutes, reviewing those files thoroughly. He then comes back into the office, not wanting to wait a minute by washing his hands first, and then gives the files to the appropriate people so they can get his work done.
I know Jay had to make a lot of sacrifices for this marriage to work. When I first met Jay, he told me about how he had been quite the ladies' man. He said it was really hard on Barry, Billy, Kevin, and Coach that he got all the attention and all the action from the women. Jay said it was going to be really difficult on him to get married and be with just one woman. He said it was going to be a big adjustment for him to give up all the late night booty calls, random hookups, the threesome, the orgies, and also have to turn away all the women who would throw themselves at him in the hopes of one day becoming Mrs. J. Edward Levin. But to his credit, despite all the temptations, he has somehow stayed committed to our sister for the last 30 years. As you all probably know, Jay considers himself very good at working with kids. One of my favorite Jay stories was when we were at a sporting event at Jack's Middle School about 6 years ago. Jay was watching one of the events when he felt a hand from behind him reach into the right side pocket of his pants. Jack had just done it a few minutes earlier to see if Jay had any spare change, so Jay just figured it was Jack searching for more change. When Jay finally looked over, it turned out it wasn't Jack, but some kid Jay had never seen before with his hand in Jay's pocket. Instead of Jay yelling at the boy, like some people might have done, to take his hand out of his pocket, Jay nicely told the boy to keep fishing around to see if he could find the big banana. And now when he's done in that pocket, to feel free to go into his left side and see if the big banana that can be found on that side also.
You didn't edit this one?
Now, for those of you who know my sister well, it won't come as a complete shock that Lisa likes things a certain way. I would never want to call her controlling, but let's just say I woke up this morning and waiting for me on my computer was an email from Lisa. The subject read, just in case someone might be throwing me a surprise party tonight. Here's what the email said. Tommy, just in case someone is throwing me a surprise party tonight, here are the do's and the don'ts. Please make sure all rules are followed accordingly. Number 1, do not let Jay wear his blue blazer with the blue plaid shirt and the gray pants. He thinks he looks so good in that outfit and I don't have the heart to tell him how terrible. Do invite Joyce and Mike Levy though because they fixed us up. Number 2. Do not, under any circumstances, invite Jay's law school friends. No one wants to listen to their same old boring stories over and over again. But do invite their wives. Number 3, Tommy. Do give Jay and me a toast because you are so funny and you are my absolute favorite brother. Do not let John participate in your toast.
For all the jokes we make about Jay, I do want to be serious for a minute and give him credit for the strength he has displayed. Jay's been suffering with a very serious medical condition, and he's done so with bravery and courage. As some of you might know, Jay has sleep apnea. So he now wears a gigantic gas mask and goes to sleep at night. I'm sure it must be a real struggle for Lisa to keep her hands off him when he's wearing that and his bikini briefs. But he's not allowed his medical issue to affect him, and we just want to say our thoughts and prayers are with him going forward with both his sleep apnea condition and his upcoming gender reassignment.
Well, Lisa and Jay, we want to wish you both a very happy 60th birthday. We also want to thank Lisa for bringing Jay into our family 30 years ago. Who knew then he would provide so much great material for our life? We look forward to seeing what material he provides over the next 30 years. Finally, we want to thank Mary, Michael, and Jenny for this really great night.